and we're gonna go live. All right, we are live. Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Ngom. I work with purpose-driven female entrepreneurs who are sick and tired of struggling on Facebook and Instagram, generate new leads and sales daily with Pinterest. And on my page, I just share my top strategies that have increased my traffic by 34,000 visitors per month using Pinterest for free. Heck yeah. And every week I'm just interviewing some really inspiring entrepreneurs that are going to help you build your business and share some really awesome tips with you. So today I have the honor of interviewing the gorgeous Belkis Clark. And Belkis is a spiritual life coach and motivational speaker who knows brokenness. Belkis rose from the ashes of sexual abuse, incest, depression, and suicide. Today, however, her chapter tells of a phenomenal relationship with God, courage, strength, and the unleashing of her light. Inspired by her own experiences, she's committed to helping others face their most heartbreaking experiences, heal from these occurrences, toss aside the masks they're forced to wear, uncover the truth of who they are, and turn brokenness into triumph. Holy moly. So that is quite the introduction, dude. So I just introduced you, but I'm sure there were some gaps. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a glimpse into your personal life?
All right, great. Let me go back first and then come forward a little bit quickly. I was born on a tiny island called St. Kitts in the Caribbean. And so I grew up between St. Kitts and St. Martin, also in the Caribbean. I'm your ultimate Caribbean lady. Who doesn't love the sun, the sea, and all that awesomeness that makes us so wonderful? So yeah, I am totally Caribbean. I came out of a past of sexual abuse, and that is a story all by itself that sometimes now I look back and go like, how on earth did you survive that?
Mm-hmm.
But it was really, really tough coming out of sexual abuse, incest, attempted rape. I've been stalked, had a gun pulled on me. It's just been quite a journey to here where I am now. So when it comes to brokenness, when it comes to depression, when it comes to suicide, when it comes to not knowing your value, finding purpose, thinking that you're really not worth anything, maybe except to be used for sex, I am familiar with it. The great thing for me, though, in this whole journey, there was a point where I thought that I would never rise. I attempted suicide multiple times. Thank God I did not survive. I did not achieve that because, did not survive. Thank God I did not achieve that, because then the awesome life that I have now I wouldn't be able to experience that. The people that I've helped, I would never have been able to tell them, look, I've walked through the hottest fires of hell, so I know what it is like when I tell you can come out on the other side in your awesomeness. And that wasn't an overnight journey. That took years. And so it was my pleasure it took me a while to realize this is where I wanted to go, because when you come from such a broken past, your first instinct really is to hide.
Mm-hmm.
And I was queen of hiding. So to get out there to help persons, man, I need to tell my story so that they know here is somebody who they could relate to. And that took forever. I used to hide so much. Some people hide behind makeup and other, personas and stuff. I just hid, like, physically, did not want to go out, didn't want to add anybody on Facebook. I don't know what was the point of having a Facebook. I added the safe people, kept it small, so it was really quite. And that's just summing it up, quickly. I had been through one marriage because I thought I could escape the environment of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up being married to an abuser.
Wow.
And yeah, I remember being held by my hair and pulled across the floor and, and held up against the wall. And I remember after that drinking Clorox as well. Gosh, I didn't know that burned. The bleach, Clorox bleach. Yeah, because I figured that here I was thinking this was my escape, thinking that I find somebody who could save me. And it turned out to be pretty much the same thing. So I actually had to be forced out of that. And I said that was divine intervention, because leave it up to me. I was told when you get married, you stay married.
Mm-hmm.
And though it was killing me, literally, I'm going to stay married. And eventually he though left, because he figured he wasn't getting enough control. And he figured if he left me, we had moved to a small little island. And he figured if he left me, I'd be so broken. I had no friends, no family there, that I would come back. It is then that I discovered, oh, in that brokenness, in that brokenness, it's as if a shell that I had put on that was not mine broke. And a light started to slowly emerge, and I was scared of it. And I eventually learned to embrace that light. And that's where I learned how to teach others. There is a light that is who we are. It is our truth. And we put on all these masks every day, you know? So I emerged from that, and I took a chance. I did a crazy thing. I applied to school, had no money. I was broke, depressed, and ridiculed, because it's a tiny island of about 3,500 people that we had moved to. And so it's like a little village. And I was a stranger. So you'll be walking in the rain, and they're like, yeah, you probably cheated on him or something. They pass you swoosh with your bag, struggling in the rain. So on that island, it was really a crushing, a breaking. And I applied to university because I always wanted to go. I had no money, no way of getting, I had no clue, except that it was another way to escape, but it was also a step of faith. Something in me all of a sudden, when that facade fell away, wanted to escape. And so I applied. And a businessman, in a conversation one time, we had several conversations that, I'd known him and stuff. And he said, you just need a chance. This was the local businessman. He said, I'll pay for school. I said, what do I owe you? Immediately, all my defenses go up. I started thinking like the old Belkis, oh, you want something like every other guy, huh? And he was like, just pass it on when you're done. Do someone else. I was like, I could not believe it. And so I brought my mom, because I need a witness that I am not dreaming this thing. And he's like, I'm giving you a chance. He said, there's so much potential in you. You just need a chance. Mm-hmm. And I went, he did. And he never asked for it. I never had to pay a cent back. I didn't have to sleep with him. I didn't owe him anything. But I am making plans to pass it on, to do it for someone else, for others, more than one. As a matter of fact, I went to school, graduated top of my class. That door was open, and I was making no joke. Graduated valedictorian, top student. I was like, when you're given opportunities, you gotta grab them by the horn. Yeah. And I didn't just graduate top of the class. I got involved in everything. All of a sudden, all the things I couldn't do, I'd been so stifled and suffocated. Here was an area that people, they welcomed. I ran for ASB twice and won both positions. I ran the school newspaper. I organized poetry and jazz nights to raise funds for my department. I was head of the drama department. So I had a full life at university. And so inside, I started to be reborn. My logo is a phoenix rising, because I always believe that out of our brokenness, that we can rise if we believe that we can. And the phoenix rise with fire, which means ain't no little wishy-washy anything. It's a transformation of the atmosphere. While at school, I met a young man. We were friends. And today he's my husband. I was scared like crap. I was enjoying my single life. Hello. But he really, my goodness, talk about a turnaround in your life. He was the total, well, I'll tell you the opposite. Sturdy, supportive, quiet, a fuss that gently pushes, but gave me all this room to just be. If I wanted to be loud, he let me be loud. If I wanted to be quiet, he lets me be quiet. And he rolled with my punches, and it's like just dripping water on a dying flower and watching it slowly open up. And that's what happened over a period of years. I slowly opened up, and 2 years ago we got married, and we now have a little baby girl who's the joy of my life. I never wanted to have kids. After what I've been through, I really did not want to have kids, but today I am thankful that I have him and her in my life. The job, you know, it has been an amazing journey. It has. And as I said, I am grateful that I survived suicide. I am. Because I live today to influence many and to let them know there's hope. I think one of the greatest things humanity needs, and this is my mantra, is that we need to know there's hope. Is that enough?
I'm like, I got chills, yo. I can't even. Like, your story is like the thing movies are made out of. It's so powerful. I literally have chills. Oh my gosh. Just question, how old were you when you went through that abuse?
The first time that I can remember, I was about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I can remember. There's a part of me that I still work through that believes that it happened younger, but I definitely remember the part that about 10, so I was pre-puberty, when all of this started, and that I can remember because you become really good at disassociating yourself and blocking stuff because you're just trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to believe that there'll be some happiness somewhere, something different somewhere. So about 10.
Wow. And so this was ongoing throughout your entire childhood?
Yeah, it was. And I remember when it finally broke, I tried to tell a teacher when I was in primary school, a male teacher that was respected by, so many other persons and stuff. I thought maybe I could trust this person and they'd help me. And instead, this teacher one day goes like, come, help me get some art supplies from the storeroom for the class and stuff. And I felt like, ooh, so special, when the teacher calls you up to do something, because I usually don't get called up to do anything. I sit quietly. And proceeded to try to kiss me on the school compound. I was less than 12 years old. And that kind of, it threw me back. I used to go into this mode where all my emotions go dead, go numb. And so I felt like I have no choice, no will, no anything, because you've been so conditioned by the experiences you've had, and there were no other experiences to tell you otherwise, that you were precious and needed to be loved and treasured, that, you were just a kid, and and so he took advantage of that and then kept pushing and pushing and pushing for sex and stuff like that, so it was, see, I had different experiences that occurred. And then by the time I hit high school, I was a really good student, but there was a principal who realized that my grades kept slipping. And he couldn't figure out how a brilliant student, and I eventually one day kind of just flung it out there, like in anger, like, and what are you going to do about it now? Oh, Lord, did that break loose of stuff? Because they call him my mom, they call him my stepfather, and and all the kind of stuff. And his thing was, I could go to jail for this. This is what you tell a child, But that principal was the one who started the ball rolling. But it still took years of counseling, even into adulthood, to work past a lot of that. And sometimes there's still things that are little triggers, but I've learned to realize, because I don't think it's an experience that you can thrive, but you never forget that it happened. And there are certain trauma is like that. It has these little lingering effects, but you can diminish those effects and just blossom. So yeah, it was an ongoing thing. I had relatives and teachers who just probably saw a quiet girl. There are more predators out there than we would even begin. There were persons in church. Wow. I just kind of figured that men just weren't, you just all they want is to have sex. And for somebody who's broken and doesn't know the power of their own voice or their value, it was like, she would be an easy prey. So when I started to fight back, it was a fight against myself and a fight against the world, the men, apparently. So yeah, ongoing process. experience.
I just want to bring it back to the teacher when you said you were like 12 and this highly respected person that you thought could help you decides that he wants to take advantage of you too.
Yeah,
that's insane.
You know, you keep looking. I think a lot of the times without realizing it, I kept looking for a man to prove to me that this isn't all that men were. I guess you look for that daddy kind of a figure to love and to restore that value and that, you know, in you. And for crying out loud, I was a kid. And I remember I used to scream and say, God, where are you? Because I want my childhood back. It's like, it was just one disappointment after another. And the thing is, if I used to say, kind of throw myself, I would say patient. But even then, still, you're a kid. That is not even an excuse. But I was not one of those outgoing. I was very reserved because I felt like I needed to hide, you know? So yeah, I saw him. I went back to St. Kitts last December, I think it was. Yeah. And I saw him. My husband was like, should I punch him in the face? I was like, he wouldn't even know what you're punching him for. You just walk up to a stranger and punch him in the face. But because my husband is from Trinidad, he only knows the person. When I went like, oh, that's the teacher that I told you about. My husband has given me the space. That's another thing. People have a way, men, when you tell them something, they think, you know what one guy said to me once? I was 13. And I thought we were friends, you know? So I eventually kind of just whispered to him a little bit about that I was being abused. His response was, oh, so you know what to do so we could get it on then. I'm telling you, the things that I have heard it's ridiculous, honestly. And I could give you story after story after story of heartbreak, brokenness, of trauma, of hopelessness, of despair. But I could also give you stories of hope, of triumph, of courage, of conquering fear and adversity and pushing through regardless. And I get excited when I can help others do the same thing. When I see them have their breakthrough, it just sends a spark through me, life through me, because I remember being a living dead, basically. So yeah, that teacher, he still teaches. I always said I should just say something, but I don't know how many young women may have gone through that over the ages. And when I was in St. Kitts and I saw him, and my husband was like, do you want to speak to him? There was a part of me that was still so repulsed at what he could have done when he took advantage of his position. Imagine, I'm excited. It was art. We get the afternoon to just do art, and I was so excited to help. Finally, somebody's asking me to do something. And I will never forget that day. I was in grade 6. I was in the 6th grade of primary school. And I can still see myself, the uniform, everything. It was kind of hot inside the storeroom where they had all the papers and everything. And he closed the door. And as soon as I turned to ask, what do you want me to get? He was like right there in my face trying to kiss me.
That just blows my mind. But you seem like such a joyful, positive person, even though you've been through so much. So how do you have such a positive outlook on life?
It has not always been this way, trust me. I was really seriously depressed. The day before my 16th birthday, I was released from the hospital, suicidal attempt. And I tried several times after that. But I had a friend who came on the scene who told me it won't always be this way, who helped me, who pointed me to counseling, who encouraged me, who stood with me, who saw value in me, regardless. And from that, and it took, like I said, it took years, all through my teenage years to my early adulthood. And my spiritual beliefs certainly helped. Oh, I've had my fight with an unseen God that I just seem to want to just make me do things that I can't see anyway. Where are you kind of thing. Really show yourself. And maybe if I tell some of the experiences of how this unseen God showed himself, people would think I'm a little bit crazy or fanatic or something. But I'm just one little girl out of the Caribbean who had, just as how abuse was very real, the spiritual experiences I had were real. So counseling helped, and someone helping me to realize there was some value there. It sparked, could it possibly be? Is there something really good still inside of me? And it gave me a little bit of hope. That's why I could teach hope, going, coming, and how it transforms. Because a little bit of hope, it go up and it comes down. No, boy, it's going to be. I thought life would always snuff out my light. Any hope I had that it would always crush it, it would never turn around. But I learned to value me. I really and truly learned to separate the incident from who I was. My trauma was not my truth. I had to learn that, go through the work, the stages, and come out knowing that though it's like a vase that's cracked. I said, a vase that's cracked, you turn and put a light bulb in that, more space for that light to come through. It means that it's not going to hold water to rot the roots. It let the water out so that those roots can, have room. And the roots can go through the crack and get more spaces to go. And then you just shoot up and you become this awesomeness, So it took going through. You have to do the work. You got to do the work. But it pays. It really, really matters to have someone who believes in you, who gets to know you and believe that in you. Because in each of us as human beings, I don't care where you were born, under what circumstances. I came out of a very poor family. I remember wearing hand-me-downs. I remember times when food was short and you're wondering, oh, my tummy hurts. Where is it, and then you eating bread that maybe was a couple days old or whatever, and whatever it took. But my grandmother, my mom, and my dad and stuff, they tried. Especially my mom, my grandma, and some of my aunts, they really tried to make sure that whatever was there, the kids were taken care of and stuff like that. So I went through the process, the counseling, coaching, having somebody believe in me, and I worked my way through the steps. The falls, the highs, the lows. You go up and then you go back down, and you go up, and you just need somebody to stick it out with you. And I had that, and I had my spiritual beliefs that was foundational for me and transformative in the process. And I give thanks every day that somewhere I just kept a little flicker of hope in the darkness. And when someone came and poured a little fuel here and a little fuel there, the flame started to, until today, I make a conscious decision every day to find the positive life, no matter how negative it is. I could be dead broke, but there is still something good happening in life, and I choose to focus on that. It don't mean that I'm not going to take care of whatever the negative is. I'm going to take care of you, but I get my strength from my positivity, from my spiritual beliefs, from realizing that I can triumph. And every time you make one triumph, it fuels me that I could do another and another and another. And that's what I teach my clients.
So talk to me about your clients. Who do you work with, and what is your business model?
Okay, well, mostly I work with women. But I do have some programs that I've run in the past with youths, because brokenness doesn't only happen to adults. A lot of the time that's where it starts, so you want to show them up and get them on positive. But my main focus is women who have been traumatized, women who feel stuck in a rut, women who can't see past their darkness or their brokenness, women who've lost all hope, women who are just going through a monotonous motion of life, who every day put on a mask for family, a mask for their employer, a mask for their friends, whatever society demand of them, they try to put that on, and then who they are get blankets between that. I work with those women who somewhere in there, they just deserve a chance, just like I got a chance. These are the women that I target. These are the women that I said, there is hope for you, and I'm extending a hand to help you, and I'm walking with you through the process. There's no abandonment here. The only time it's abandonment is if it's a self-abandonment, when you give up on yourself and you figure you're not doing it. So I mostly work with women. Sometimes I've worked with men, because women go back to men. And men, a lot of men though wouldn't just come on a lot of the times and say, I don't know how to help my significant other or my sister or whomever. So the few men I have been enlightened, and at first I thought they would not listen to a female, but you'd be very surprised that there are men out there who just want to know how they can help and to better understand. So sometimes I work with men. My main focus are women, and then we go through first. We always do, we assess where they're at, because some persons are really still at ground zero, straight up. They're just battered, broken, crushed to the ground and can't find the pieces to put together. So, I always have the category, we have to assess where you're at. Mm-hmm. And then from there, once I have the assessment, we go way back. One of the things that I do is go back to childhood, not to revisit your trauma, because it's not psychology, it is coaching. But we revisit what that child in you used to dream about, used to aspire to, used to hope for, and we work our way from there, because those are usually foundational to where we are. They're innate to our awesomeness. Those dreams that we had. I remember once I always wanted to travel. And I was about 11 when I told a friend of mine, it was an adult, but a family friend. I was like, when they said, what do you want to be? I was like, I want to be an air hostess. Oh, that's not a good job. You're gonna outgrow that, blah, blah. Well, I travel now. I'm not an air hostess, but I had to reclaim that desire for travel. And, I work, travel, just not as an air hostess, but you have to reclaim. And so we learn to rediscover who we were meant to be. And that's basically the model, basically how I maneuver it. Rediscovering your truth, who you are. We learn to strip the mask off, put them aside, and become raw and vulnerable, because there is no growth without vulnerability. There's a value there that a lot of times we fail to see. So basically that is how I approach my whole session with persons. We start out there, and it's not forcing you. It is basically just a gentle urging and letting you know you have a safe space. And if you just want to be quiet, somebody to be quiet with, I'll be that too. Mm-hmm. If you just want to ramble on about every random thing that is going on, I do that too, because out of that, you get a sense of who the individual is. People need a space to just be without the pressures of everything. And so I offer that. I try to create that for every individual, and that's important, seeing people as individuals.
That's awesome.
Did I answer your question? Yes,
oh, you totally did. You totally did. What's been one of the biggest challenges you've had as an entrepreneur, and how have you overcome it?
Well, getting past the fear. Oh my gosh. Fear has been one of my big, it was either fear of I don't have money and you're going to fall flat on your face, fear of who should listen to you, fear of all your studying don't make you qualified, fear of you're still broken, fear, all the fears you could think about, they were crippling. And so it made me not want to take a chance. And then when people hear your story, they're going to say this and they're going to say that about you, until one day I realized, but wait, they can't really tell me anything I don't know. I've lived that hurt already. You can't hurt me twice with that. I've been hurt, overcame the hurt, learned my stuff, and have helped people in the process. So I was like, God, what you bothering about? And then I had people around me supporting me. So fear. Fear of taking a chance, fear of thinking I wasn't good enough, fear of thinking that my dreams were ridiculous, fear of thinking that I was too broken to ever be healed, fear of thinking that that little girl hadn't really gone, would still be there quivering somewhere in the corner. Just fear everywhere. Prison. I just created a prison just on fear. And the thing I learned about fear, and I teach about this, is that it has not even happened yet. And we get all in our zone of, of this and that and whatever. And the truth is, one of the biggest highlights for me is when somebody can realize what other people say really don't matter.
Mm-mm.
What your truth is what matters.
Yes.
So fear was my biggest thing. How did I overcome fear? Oh boy, that was a lot of self-work and I read a lot. I read a whole lot. I listened to a lot of inspirational talks to try to get the positive in, because you gotta somehow, it's like it's compressed. It's like a sponge that you have sunk into fear, so it's dripping. And so you need to squeeze it a little bit to make room for something else. So that's basically how I saw myself. I literally used to force myself to read positive books that would uplift and build, and listen to motivational tapes, and stuff like that. I would force myself. And then every day, whether I felt it or not, I got up, looked at myself in the mirror. I said, "You're beautiful. You will succeed. You're the best thing God created. You will be a wonder to this world." I start to speak, because my mom taught me that life and death lies in the power of the tongue. That's a scripture. And she says, by words. And I started, the more I believe that, I started, because I'm a literary person. Words have always been my magic. And I started to realize the power of words. And some people ask me, what does writing something do? Or what does speaking something do? I tell them, and sometimes this is my Christian folks. So I said, the God you believe in spoke this world into being. Tell me about the power of words again. But I started to apply it to my life. And I realized the more positive things I said, the more positive I felt. And so when I feel positive, I want to try to do something positive. And those were the stages that it took. It was a battle. Like I said, it was up and down. Some days you're good, and some days you don't want to see the world. I literally would not come out of bed sometimes for more than a week. Go to the bathroom, back in my bed, no one would see me, don't want to answer the phone, would not get online, just withdraw totally from, that's how I used to be, and I really thought it was a fight, a battle against itself. It really was, because you're so conditioned to fear, to not wanna. And I fought myself, I literally wrestled. And I pray a lot. I prayed a lot, tried to find as many scriptures that could give me positive boosts, books that would give me positive boosts. My mom was a great champion. She kept, instilling positive. You could, and eventually I started to say, what if I could? What if I did? And so I started trying small things. With every success, the fear receded. And the more the gossip did not matter. If people talked about me, did not matter. It started to it's like just ebbing back slowly but surely. It started to, and so I started pushing with, so there was this bulk of negativity, so I started pushing back with positivity. I start saturating myself, whether I didn't believe it in the beginning, but that didn't matter. I was trying to survive here in the best way that I knew how. So I kept pushing back with positivity. And the more positivity I pushed back with, it gave me grounds to try something positive. So I was like, I want more ground and more ground. So I kept pushing and pushing and pushing and saying that, this stuff happened. I faced my fears. My mom told me, and you would hear me say my mom or my grandmother say a lot because it's the truth. My mom said to me one day, you cannot conquer what you do not confront. Turning point. Hey. I was like, girl, you're gonna put on your big girl. I wanted more. I wanted something else. And I was like, geez, I could either die in the fear and negativity or give it a shot.
Mm.
So even though I felt afraid, I took one step forward, positive. And so slowly but surely the positivity. So now I guess I'm a sponge soaked in positivity. So I just exude all that.
I love that. What are some of the books or audios or things that you watched that made a big impact on you?
Oh boy. I remember one book that really, there were some books by Miles Monroe that I read, because he was big on leadership and like living like identifying who you are. But there was a book called The Purpose Driven Life. That book, it is spiritual based, but it was very practical. It came with a workbook, and I worked my way slowly but surely through that book, and it really it sparked an interest in me. There was also, now you might hear me mention a number of books that are spiritual. I came out of a very strong spiritual background, and like I said, it matters to me. It mattered to me, and it made a difference in my life, that relationship, that spirituality that I have. So there was another one by Joyce Myers called The King's Daughter. Now remember, I was young, so these were books that I started to read then. Oh my gosh, I can't even begin. I just remember Miles Monroe was spitting out books like nobody business, and I was just buying up. I read also from John C. Maxwell. I can't remember the name of the book. I'm really not good with remembering names of books.
He's got like 80 or 90 books. I mean, he's got a lot.
I know.
I went to see him speak twice. He's amazing, and I've met him. He's the best.
I've listened to his tapes. Another person that I really listened to was Iyanla. She's a spiritual motivational speaker. Her name trips me up all the time, but it's Iyanla, and it's a V. Her last name really trips me up, and I don't want to pronounce the lady's name incorrectly, but I remember I was in Guyana on 20 plus years ago, and I picked up a book, couldn't understand it then. She talked about brokenness, relationships, that impact it has on you and how you can overcome that and stuff like that, and came back to it like 10 years after and went like, she's speaking my language. These are a couple of persons that I read and I listened to, and sometimes I go on and on about some of the authors and people and their influence. And I'm like, people are like, but yeah, they're doing the same thing you're doing. I say, I know. So I learned from the gurus and the giants. I mean, I always believe, now before Miles Monroe died, he had told me, sign up for my mentorship program, because I had worked with him in St. Martin. He said, sign up, and I just signed up, and then he died. I was so looking forward to that, because I always looked at this dude and go like, he has major influence. There were two persons, him and Oprah. The kind of influence they had, I told my mom, I aspire to that influence. Now, not to be them, because I kind of like being me. But the kind of influence they had, where they impacted so many people for positive, that is what I aspire to.
So girl, you're going to do that. I have no doubt. The way that you speak, the story that you have, and I'm speaking life over you, because I see it happen. I really do. I see you doing some really inspiring and incredible things. So I'm excited to see you just blossom even more. It's amazing.
One day, I hope you'd say, come back on my show.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I have a few more questions. How are you currently using social media for your business?
Oh, it is totally, it's like big time social media. I don't know what I'll do without it. It's like Facebook. And when I saw stuff for Pinterest, I was like, yeah, that's the next area that I need to get into. But I've been trying to master one area at a time, but yes, I really wanted to get a hang of one thing and another thing and stuff like that. So for me, social media is a lifeline to your business. You don't want to suffocate. That's how I view social media. So I have like, I actually have I have 3 groups I plan to do. One for, especially for persons with sexual abuse survivors, that they can tell their stories. I intend to, collect stories and write a nice, but not just for writing stories' sake, but to teach from their story how we can help others, so it comes with the whole, how to workbook kind of a thing and stuff like that. So, but I have a group called Unleashed that is just what it says, unleashed. It is you unleashing, you becoming, you letting you come forth in a very safe space. I use groups. I have my business page that I'm not afraid to share valuable information because people need to know. And I think if they know that, look, she knows what she's talking about, they might be more willing to go like, I need you in my life. Instagram, I do lots of original quotes. I do, and stuff like that. Twitter, I'm now getting my, my Twitter stuff up and going. And I'm telling my husband at this rate, I'm going to need a manager, a social media, because
you do. I'm hiring for one right now. Yeah, I'm hiring for a social media manager right now because there's just so much.
It gets overwhelming. And I love Pinterest. Like I have my own personal Pinterest account, which is always showing, oh, this visit, that visit. And I'm like, I wonder if I could do this for my business. And
oh, girl, yes, you can. And you need to. If you did some of my Pinterest strategies, you would be getting so much traffic, so many leads into your business.
It's like my go-to research site.
Yeah.
It is. But because I do it from a personal side, but structuring it and all of that, I would admit, and this is something I'm good at, admitting when I'm clueless, about some, we don't all know everything. My expertise is motivational speaking and spiritual life coaching. I'm claiming, and I'm an author as well.
Yep. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
cool. Cool. Okay. So I have rapid fire questions. Answer each in one sentence or less. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
Freedom.
Hey, what is the most challenging part about being an entrepreneur?
Maintaining authenticity. There is a challenge to conform to the status quo.
Totally. What's one go-to resource or tool that allows you to be a high performer?
To be a ConvertKit is, I'm sorry, like I don't know if that's like
ConvertKit. Yeah. No, that's really nice. Yeah.
That is like I love, yeah.
ConvertKit. So, cool. Yeah. And what's one piece of advice for someone looking to uplevel their business and life and have a greater impact?
Your voice is important. Maintaining that authentic voice is important. It is very easy to, you said one sentence, sorry. But you're maintaining your authenticity is important for me for upleveling. It's what sets you apart from everybody else. So you really got to own yourself as a part of your business and what it is that you contribute that is true. That rings true every single time. It makes the world of a difference. Authenticity.
Awesome. Holy moly, you are wonderful. To wrap up, why don't you just tell everybody what's latest and greatest in your business these days and where we can connect with you?
Oh, wow. Well, you can look for Belkis Clark on Facebook. That's on my business page. I have a group called Unleashed that you can go over and check out. We have right now a relationship workshop that's going on that has been good, just pretty awesome. Tomorrow we are talking about sensitivity and intimacy. The highly sensitive person and stuff like that. You can find me also Belkis Clark on Instagram, Belkis Clark on Twitter, and www.belkisclark.com. You can find me there as well. What's happening for me on the business scene? Well, besides having a lot of bookings for recording podcasts and stuff coming up. I am about to, I contributed to an anthology, so that's being launched in April. I have that workshop going on in my group. It's free. I am presently planning an online. I'm planning a summit online for women, and there'll be more about that coming up. And I've got some special stuff also in the works for survivors of sexual abuse. Because I've walked that path, they're really important to me, and I think too many of them get left or pushed aside, and people just don't see and recognize. It's amazing I can pinpoint this person a lot of the times who've been sexually abused without having a conversation with them who've been sexually abused. So I've got that going on. I've got an awesome opt-in, if you go to my website, www.belkisclark.com, it's a 7-day mini course. It's basically motivational videos, 7 different topics, 7 days to help you, 7 days to unleash in your wonder. And it is fabulous. So those are some of the things that I'm pretty much working on. I'm basically just working on, keeping that vibe, that momentum. I'm presently writing my very own book as well. So that is, I'm hoping that by the end of the year that will be got a couple of courses in the make. So it's a whole lot happening.
Busy lady. I'll make sure to put in the show notes all the links on all the freebies and all your social media platforms so people can connect with you. Okay.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've had so much fun chatting with you. I just feel like inspired. Your story is so powerful, and I know that it's going to help so many people. So thank you for that.
I sure do hope that it does, because that's what we are here for.
Yeah.
Extend the hand. We don't just survive in our own, our own little space. We all need to create an impact. We are our own little vibration. So whenever you step into your environment, it must not be the same, because you give off a charge. That's what happens when you unleash your light. So I am happy that you have me. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for the invite. I am glad that I responded to it. This has been good.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, you hear that. So go pay it forward, make a difference. And thank you so much again. It's been awesome.
Have a good one.